Hello peeps, how's it going? Matt Sparks here. Welcome to Hearthstone. Today was the day, the big day, in the closed beta of Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft. It was the day of the wipe. It was the day of the big patch to put in all these changes and stuff that and fix all the bugs that people have been reporting. And so I thought I'd make a little video. I say a little video, I don't know how long this is going to go for. I thought I'd make a video explaining some of the changes, some of the more important changes that will actually will make the biggest differences, in my opinion, anyway. So let's go take a look at the collection first of all. So, because of the wipe, it resets everything back to 0. So you have to go through all the tutorial games first before you can start going into arenas and ranked matches and stuff like that. So as you can see, I don't really have many cards, and that's because of that reason. So they've changed this. So there's nothing at the bottom anymore, so you can switch between looking at all the cards or just. And there's no search engine search mode anymore on this. But if you go into crafting mode, then you can do a bit more searching. So you can search for only gold cards and include soulbound cards. There's still no search. You still can't type in, as far as I'm aware. No, I thought this might be it down here, but it's not. So you still can't do a search of legendary, and it shows you all legendary cards, or epic, and it shows you all epic cards, which is a shame. I don't know why they took that out, but that's what they did. So let's have a quick look at some of the changes to specific cards, shall we? Okay, so the first card that we're going to take a look at is Gelbin Mechatalk. Now you get the golden one of these for participating in the beta, if you provided you spend real money, and as a result some of the gold cards have had new animations put onto them, including this guy, although you can't actually see the animation on this guy as it stands at the moment because this is the crafting one. So yeah, this guy summons an awesome, in brackets, it should be, not brackets, quotation marks, invention. Now, the repair bot that he had used to be a 0 attack, 5 health, restore 3 health to everyone, and now it's a 0-3 and restores 6 health to a damaged character. So that it still does a healing thing, but it only does 6 health to one thing rather than 3 health to everything, which is what it was doing before. So that will make quite a bit of difference, I think. Okay, the next card we're going to take a look at is the Twilight Drake. Now, the Twilight Drake, I used to see people not play any cards for the first 3 turns, just to get a really buffed one of these out on the board. And it used to be that it would gain +1 attack and +1 health for each card in your hand at the time that it's played, which could have been really nasty. It could be really nasty. I've seen people with bringing out sort of a 7-7 and an 8-8 version of these cards. Now it has a battle cry where it gains 1 health for each card in your hand. So, not as good. So, I mean, it obviously means that it's still going to be pretty difficult to take care of, as far as getting the amount of damage you need to take it out. But it's just not going to do quite as much damage as it was before. Because something like this in a Shaman deck could have been pretty nasty if you give it Wind Fury. Or give it the Rock Biter weapon, and all of a sudden it's a Wind Fury with plus 10 attack or something, and it's like, oh my god. Yeah, you wouldn't want that. So I can understand why they nerfed it a little bit, but one of these with the card that gives plus taunt to stuff could be quite useful. You could end up having like a 4/8 taunt, which would be pretty nasty. So I could see why they've changed it, but it's still a good card. It's just not quite as lethal as it was before. The next card we want to take a look at is the Frostwolf Warlord. Again, this was similar to the Twilight Drake. Whereas the Twilight Drake was dependent on how many cards you had in your hand, this was dependent on how many minions you had on the board on your side. So this one used to be it was a constant effect. So if you had 3 minions on the board already when you played this, it would then be a 7/7. But if you killed the other 3 minions before you tried to attack this guy, he would shrink back down to a 4/4. Now, I guess this is kind of a buff actually for this guy. Now it's a battle cry. It's not a constant effect, which means if you put it out onto the board with 3 other minions, he's going to be a 7/7. If you kill those other 3 minions first, it doesn't make any difference. He's still going to be a 7/7. So this guy's actually been buffed quite a lot. And I'm not sure that he needed it. Because I've seen Frostwolf Warlords wreck on the board quite a few times. So it's an interesting decision onto why they've given it a battle cry, and I think it'll be one of the cards that you have to have. If you're playing a lot of minions, then there is no reason to not have this card, because it's pretty awesome. Okay, let's have a quick look at the class cards now that we've had a look at the neutral ones. First up, Mirror Image has been changed to summon 2 0/2 minions with taunt rather than 2 0/1 minions with taunt, which is a bit better because they were really easy to kill off. There's a lot of classes that have AoE that does 1 damage, like Fan of Knives or Whirlwind, Arcane Explosion, that kind of thing, and it kills them off really quickly. So I think that's a nice little addition to the mage deck. We've got Frostbolt, which costs 1 less mana than it did before, which is quite nice for mages. And Sorcerer's Apprentice now has an extra 1 attack to what it had before. So it's not too much change to the mage deck, but then I don't think it was needing that much changes. It was pretty strong already anyway. But that should help a little bit with a little bit of survivability and a little bit more offensive ability as well with the mage. Okay. Okay, now let's have a quick look at the priest, because this is one of the classes that was possibly one of the weakest in Arena, but I think it's going to be one of the strongest now in Ranked from some of the changes that they've made to it. The first big change you'll notice is the Northshire Cleric is now a 1-cost card, which is pretty cool. Not likely to be able to get anything out on the board turn 1 that can do 3 damage, which means this Northshire Cleric can start drawing you cards turn 1, which is pretty cool. And as soon as you get to turn 2, you can then start using taunts to protect it, that kind of thing, or other offensive cards to then take out anything that can damage that one. I think priests are gonna, the priest decks have been buffed quite considerably. Okay, so we've got Northshire Cleric is a it should be in every priest deck, essentially, because it's a great way of being able to draw cards. Okay, so they had a card called Fade, which I believe gave your minions Taunt, and it didn't really cost much, but that's been changed now, and it's not there anymore. Instead, they've introduced this card, Shadow Word Death, which destroys a minion with an attack of 5 or more. Now, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm not sure if that's OP or not. That's... yeah, I mean, you've got Shadow Word Death, which is attack of 5 or more, and you've got Shadow Word Pain, which destroys a minion with 3 or less. So, if you're only putting out +4 attack creatures, if they've only got 4 attack, then they're safe, I think. But that's it. That's crazy. So if they have 2 each of those cards, then you need to be really careful what you're playing against a priest. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, I'm interested to see quite how that works out. The Cabal Shadow Priest has had been buffed. It was a 3 attack 4 health. It's now a 4 attack 5 health, and you get to take control of a minion that has 2 or less attack. So it's like a mini mind control. Plus you get a 4/5 minion on the board as well. It's like, oh man. Even if they haven't, even if they've used both of their Shadow Word Pains, all they have to do is bring out a Cabal Shadow Priest, and they'll just take that minion away from you and use it against you. Ugh. The Lightspawn has also been buffed. This is now a 0/5 where it was a 0/4. So that's, when you place that down, that's going to be a 5/5 for 4 cost, which is, I mean, it was pretty good before. I mean, Lightspawn combined with, say, the Temple Enforcer, which gives it 3 health, or which one is it? Divine Spirit. Our Power Word Shield has been changed as well, so that's changed ever so slightly. It was give a minion 3 health. That's now give 2 health and draw a card. So you get card draw on that as well. So I think the Priest is going to be a pretty interesting deck to play around with. And Prophet Velen has changed. It used to be just spells, but now it's spells and hero power. So you can start healing for 4, unless of course you've got like the Orkanai Soul Priest out, in which case you can start doing 4 damage with your hero power, depending on, I guess it depends on whether you're going for an offensive or a defensive play at the time. And Holy Fire is replaced Greater Heal, so that deals 5 damage and restores 5 health to your hero. So it's like Holy Nova, which does 2 damage and restores 2 health. But that Holy Nova heals minions rather than Holy Fire, which just heals your hero. But that's still a pretty good card. So you can do 5 damage to something, like a minion, a big minion, like a taunt or something. Kill it off, and heal yourself for 5 health. Crazy, absolutely crazy. As I say, I think the priests are going to be pretty strong now, and are going to be absolute dicks to get rid of. Should be interesting though. I'm looking forward to giving that a shot. Okay, let's have a look at the Rogue quickly, because they've got nerfed quite considerably, and although You played Rogue quite a lot. I can understand why. I can understand why, because yeah, they were pretty hardcore. Okay, so Backstab has been changed to deal 2 damage to an undamaged minion, rather than just deal 2 damage to a minion, because yeah, you could kind of chain 2 of those together to kill something with 4 health, and you still hadn't used any mana. You know, and yeah, I can understand why they changed that one. What else has changed? Preparation has changed. That's actually been buffed, because it was your next spell costs 2 less, but now it costs 3 less. So preparation has actually been buffed. So it's not all bad, but it is mainly bad. Shiv is now a 2-cost card rather than a 1-cost card. Defias Ringleader has now got 1 less health than he did before. Conceal now costs 1 mana, which is this one. That used to be a 0-cost card, and now it's a 1-cost. Patient Assassin has that has a new visual reminder, is what they're calling it. So when you play this onto the board, it's the same as the Cobra, and it basically just has like a little green vial of poison type stuff at the bottom of the card there. So it's not anything particularly fancy. It's a bit rubbish, really, if you ask me, but still. What else have we got here? Edwin Van Cleef, the legendary. He still gains 2/2 for each card, but oh, hang on, no, that used to be a 1/1. Wow, okay. Okay, so it used to be a 1/1, but he was stealthed, so you could just continue to buff him. But now it's a 2/2, but he doesn't have stealth anymore. So he buffs up quicker, but he's no longer in stealth, so he can be killed earlier. Headcrack has been mana cost has increased to 3 from 2, but the other effects stay the same, and the hero power for Rogue has also changed, and you no longer have the ability to buff the weapon that you have equipped, which I think is a little bit poo, because if you don't have any weapons in your deck, then you're only ever going to get the one dagger, the 1 attack 2 durability dagger, which is arguably worse than the mage one. I mean, you spend 2 mana, but you get to use it twice, so you still get you get 2 points of damage from it, whereas the mage one you only get 1. But you don't have to take damage with it. I guess you could use it to only attack the hero or totems or something. But yeah, I just don't think it's very good anymore. I don't think you'll see many people using the hero power on a rogue anymore, because it's a bit rubbish. Let's lastly look at warrior. Okay, Cruel Taskmaster for the warrior deck has had 1 extra health put in, which is really good, because having 1 health on something like that, it just gets killed virtually instantly. You know, especially if you're playing against a mage. 1 health is no use to anyone. So yeah, that's a really nice little buff for the warrior. In a rage, it used to be that you'd lose that +2 attack at the end of that turn, but now it doesn't. It retains that +2 attack until the minion has died or gets silenced. So that's really good now. That's really good, actually. An extra 2 attack on any minion can, especially if it's a minion that's not likely to die anytime soon. that could be really good. What else do we have? Battle Rage. Okay, that's... It costs one more, but now it's for each damaged character, so that includes the heroes, whereas before it was only minions. So, provided both the heroes have taken damage, then you're guaranteed at least 2 cards from this. So 3 cost for 2 cards is pretty reasonable. I think the mage has Arcane Intellect, which is a 4 cost for 2 cards. But obviously this has the potential for drawing more than that. I mean, if you use this card after a Whirlwind, and there's, I don't know, 4 minions on the board, then all of a sudden you're drawing like 6 cards, which could be pretty awesome. So that's a pretty strong card now. Frothing Berserker says it has 1 more attack than it did before. I've never really used this card very much, so I'm assuming it was only a 1/4, and now it's a 2/4. So that's pretty cool. That's quite a big buff, I guess, because I mean this card was a pretty strong card anyway. Because it's whenever a minion takes damage, so it doesn't matter whether it's a minion of yours or a minion of theirs. If a minion is taking damage anywhere on the board, this guy gets buffed, that's pretty badass. Commanding Shout, I think that's back at the beginning. Yeah, here it is now got a card draw on it as well, but it does cost an extra mana. But you do get to draw a card, and the spell effect, I believe, has changed ever so slightly on this as well, which is pretty cool. So there's some nice buffs to warriors as well there, but I really think that the priests are going to be the deck to beat nowadays. Okay, so that's the main changes to the cards. There are a few other there's quite a few other changes. It was quite a big patch, but I'm not going to go into all of that now. What I'll do is I shall link the patch notes in the description below, and you can go and check them out and give them a read and find out. But yeah, I think that's the main things that I wanted to show you, just like the way that the cards work, and just give you my opinion on how I think it's going to change stuff. And what I'll do is I'll try and get some gameplay and see if I can come up with something that's quite interesting. I'll probably play a few arenas and gotta unlock all the decks again, and all that kind of stuff. So it'll take me a little while, but we'll get there eventually, and then I'll see if we can come up with some decent priest and warrior decks now that they've been buffed. Cool. All right, thanks for watching. Sorry it wasn't visually more entertaining. This is more about what's changed and how I think it's gonna affect the game. Hopefully, I'll get some footage of how it does affect the game very soon. All right, thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time.